did you think about like, I'm designing my life? What are your thoughts about that now looking back?
Yeah. So at the time, much of it we fell into and we learned by doing. We did something and we were self-aware, and if it worked, we did more of it. And if it didn't work, we did less of it. Although if I could reinterpret it through what I know today. So, Simon Sinek, find your why. He talks about, what he calls the golden circle, that there's on the outside, there's the what, and the what's everything that you do, and everybody knows what they do. And he kind of dismisses it. Speaking from a business perspective, he kind of dismisses it like, okay, you happen to be in this business, but, so what? So are 1,000 other people. And then one step into that circle, one level into that circle is the how. And the how is what, Darius, you're so passionate about, core values, what makes you special as a company. And then at the center is what he calls the why. Why does your company even exist in the first place? And for a company, that makes a lot of sense. You start with why. You're able to articulate your why, and it's attractive to customers, it's attractive to staff. You imbue everything you do with your how and your core values, and it just makes it incredibly satisfying. And then the what doesn't matter so much. But when it comes to living your life, it's the opposite. You start with what. Ask a 3-year-old why they like to draw, and they're just going to look at you like you're stupid and say, because it's fun. That's why I draw. Ask them, what's your value around drawing? And like, I don't know, but it lights them up. It makes their heart sing. And as we grow, as we start our businesses and our lives, and much before that, even just when we first start to get to school, well-meaning adults, they tell us, stop doing what we love. When my son was in first grade, just after he had started, I talked to the teacher outside the school a couple weeks in, asked her how everything was going, and she said, well, things are good, but he's a little trouble transitioning. Like, what do you mean? He was like, well, we'll be doing a topic and I'll really be into it, and then it'll be time for the next topic, and we have a really packed day, every moment's precious, and he still wants to do the other topic, and sometimes it's a little disruptive. And I kind of nodded my head and said, okay, I'll talk to him about it. But in my heart, I was thinking like, oh no, it started. He loves something, and you're telling him to stop. You're telling him that he's a problem because he loves what he's doing. And there's no way I'm going to support you in deadening the aliveness of my child. But that's what that's what happens to all of us through well-meaning adults who tell us that stop doing what you love and be practical, study hard, go to school, that stuff. And we forget what makes our heart sing. And we might even, and when I started Kedorable, my purpose in doing the business was so that I could spend more time, with this woman that I loved. And I didn't know what my why was, but from today's perspective, I could say, well, my why is to untangle the clutter, to make people's lives easier, more meaningful and more joyous. And when I think about what I accomplished at Kedorable and what I try to accomplish as a father and all these things, it's that's it. The best part of my day was, or week was the 10 hours a week that I'd be in meetings, because like I got to do it. I got to teach people, support people, train them, help them be more effective in their jobs and make their jobs more easier, more meaningful and more joyous. That's what I loved. And all the other stuff, I mean, I was good at it. I was passionate about it. I worked hard. It's had a great effect, but it didn't make my heart sing. And I didn't realize that. I didn't understand that. Mm-hmm. But so I'll give you another example. So again, using Simon Sinek's model again, in his book, Find Your Why, he talks about an Italian coffee maker, La Mazorca. They make espresso machines and stuff like that.
Right.
And apparently their why is something like to foster deep connections with people. And the way that Simon Sinek talks about it, like that's why they exist. And the fact that they make coffee, that's just, it's irrelevant. That's what they do. And if you're a young person starting your career and you read that and you think, my why is to have deep connections with people, and you work with La Mazorca, and then you start working with them, and if they know their why and they're in this book, I'm sure they know their core values too, and you think like, yeah, that's it. I love this company. I love everything about this company. You're gonna have a really satisfying career. But if it turns out that your what is different from there. It's if you don't like coffee, you just think coffee is disgusting, it's bitter and it's gross. Your heart will not sing selling coffee machines. And you'll still have a good career because there's all that other stuff that's so good. And oh my gosh, if you don't have that stuff, if you don't live in alignment with your why, if you don't live in alignment with your core values, then again, it's going to be deadening your aliveness. It's going to be, you're going to feel like there's something missing. You're going to live, what Thoreau called, a life of quiet desperation.
Right.
Go through a midlife crisis. There's got to be more than this. But let's say for you, Darius, that, you hate coffee, but sweet buttery goodness is where it's at. You love cake, and you're an entrepreneur. Don't start a coffee company, start a bakery. And if you could start a bakery, something that makes your heart sing and that's consistent with your core values and that's consistent with your why, I mean, your soul's on fire and it's so much better.